welcome to Wednesday night, all levels yoga. I know it doesn't sound like all levels when we're doing a headstand tonight, but please don't be worried, you don't have to do a headstand tonight. There's no pressure whatsoever, but it's all about strengthening the upper body, and we're really working with the crown of the head today. We always do a lot of rooting down, grounding, heart opening, and whilst the postures, they kind of work everything, don't they? It's where you focus that energy as to where you're going to see the most benefit, if that's what you're looking for. And so tonight, headstand is classic crown, spirituality, nervous system, hormones, your spinal cord. So physiologically and spiritually, that's where your crown will take you if you focus the energy up there today. But obviously to get to headstand, we need strong shoulders, we need strong arms, we need the core, we need technically to be doing it properly because of our necks. But we'll take it slowly. We're going to have lots of practice before we get there of positioning the hands and the head and what have you. So hopefully by the time we get there, you'll be ready to try any form of headstand that suits you today. Okay, so because we are working with the crown, we're going to start in child's pose. I hope everyone's okay after yoga tone yesterday. I'm super stiff. So, child's pose, taking the knees wide and your feet together if that's comfortable. Your knees might feel a bit stiff here, so put as many cushions under your belly and under your head as you need as you come down into that child's pose. And just let the forehead be on something, whether it's the floor or whether it's cushions, just so you can really focus on the feel of that forehead wherever it is. And just start taking some lovely big breaths here. If this isn't comfortable, you can just come and lay on your belly, you can place your forehead on your hands, or you can lay on your back. It's your practice. So just see how you feel. Try and let everything go. This isn't an active pose. We're trying to completely let the shoulders go here, the bottom, the knees, the thighs, definitely the head and the neck. Let that head be super heavy into the ground or into a cushion or wherever it needs to be. Breathing into the side ribs. Really feel them coming out to the sides as you inhale. But pay attention to your forehead. Gazing at the back of the eyelids. When we work with the crown, it's quite nice to work with the sense of balance. We have our left side, our moon side, calmness, and then the right side, the fiery. So the left is the Ida Nadi, and the right is your Pingala. But we need balance between the two. And of course, if you have balance, then you can balance better physically, emotionally. So when you inhale, imagine that air coming in the left nostril. Keep the eyes closed, keep everything relaxed. And just notice how the left side of the face feels, the left side of the head, the left side of the body. Any colours that you might see, any feelings. When you are ready, take it to the right side. Really feel the breath coming in the right nostril. If you're breathing through your mouth, then it's fine. You can still imagine that the air is coming through that right nostril. And notice if there's any differences. They will be very subtle, no doubt. And then see how it feels to try and breathe through both nostrils Visualise the air equally coming in and out through both. Maybe breathing a little deeper, nourishing and balancing the body. Let that head be heavy. And gently. You're not going to move your bum on your knees unless you have to. If you've been in a different position, you can try and join us in child's pose now if you wish. All we're going to do is take that right hand and slide it underneath the left. So I haven't come forward into a thread the needle, my bum is still right back, and I'm just taking that left hand across, and you can bring it up so you can pop your head on it, you can pop your head on a cushion, whatever feels good for you. So gentle shoulder twist, gentle spinal twist. You can come onto the fingertips of that left hand if you wish. And maybe if you want to activate it a little, you can really push down into that right arm. So it does take the weight out of the head when you push down through that right arm, and it just increases the twist a little. If this isn't comfortable, you can do your normal twist that we do virtually every lesson on your back and just take the knees one way and the other. And then bringing it back round. Notice how one side of the body feels compared to the other before you take your left hand underneath and through. Pushing down through that left hand. You can have the back of the hand into the floor. Maybe come onto the fingertips of the right hand. And the more you activate the fingertips and the back of the left arm, the more you're going to twist. And then gently bringing it back round, taking our active child's pose now. So high on those fingertips. If the knees are getting sore, you could always bring them in a little, or put a cushion underneath between the thighs and the calves. But active child's pose. You can let the head hang, just be careful not putting too much pressure on the back of the neck, otherwise use the cushion. Fingertips pushing into the floor. Arms along. Big breaths. And release. Bringing yourself up so the bum is lifting over the knees. You're going to interlace your fingers, and we're going to just see how it feels to put our head on the floor in more of a headstand type posture. So it's always useful sometimes to just measure where that's going to be. So if you take the heel of your hand and place it between your eyebrows, where that longest index finger lands is where you want the head to be in contact with the floor, so it's really high up. It's not around the forehead line. Put the heel of the hand just on the brow. Take that finger up, and it's really quite high. That's the crown of your head. So we're going to interlace the fingers. Don't let the elbows go too wide. And that point, the crown of the head, is going to come onto the mat. And then my hands are going to really firmly snuggle the back of the head in. So if you've got a ponytail, you might need to move it unless you can wrap around it. So my head is in contact with the floor and my hands. And I want you to be really careful with your neck. So the pressure with a headstand isn't about your neck, it's about the forearms. So it's actually a forearm stand, it's just that you gently have the tiniest bit of support with your head. So please see this as a forearm stand. So once you have your head really firmly snuggled into those hands, push into the forearms and feel where your core or your upper back activates. So you're not sinking the chest down or sinking down into the shoulders. That will hurt your neck. You're pushing into the forearms. You're not lifting your head off the floor, but you want to get that feeling of core engagement. As I push my elbows down, I round my upper back as much as I can,
and I can really feel deep down in my belly is engaging. That's the feeling you need, and that's why you need a strong core to do some of these inversions, because it's all about the core. And you can imagine if you took the pressure out of those forearms, it would all be in your head, and that is not good. Have a little rest. You can take it back into child's pose, or wherever feels comfortable. Just have a look where we're going to go. So if that feels okay, if you can push down into your forearms to round your upper back like cat pose, maybe you can tuck your toes and lift the bum into the air, but you have to be pushing down into your forearms and then drop your knees and have a minute. If this hurts your head in any way, do it without the head being on the floor. You can still hover the head, you can push into the elbows, you can activate the core around your upper back, and then you can take your bum into the air. You don't have to have your head in the floor if it's causing any issues in the back of your neck. But if you're pushing into your forearms, you really shouldn't have a lot of pressure in the back of that neck unless your forearms need strengthening a little. So once you've had one more go, pushing into the forearms, activate the core round the upper back. So you're pulling the shoulders away from the ears. You're not hunching your shoulders towards your ears, you're bringing them down and away. So core active, shoulders away, and then maybe you can tuck. And from here it would be really easy to lift into a headstand, but we're not going to do that yet. Okay. Just wanted you to start feeling how it is in that movement if you've not done one before, you're not used to it. So let's just interlock the fingers, take them behind the neck and give it a little very gentle tug. Make lots of space in the back of that neck. Okay, let's come onto our bellies and take a Sphinx pose. So, elbows under those shoulders, hands at shoulder width apart. You can use a cushion or block between your hands as guide. Tops of the toes on the floor, and we're going to work between a back bend and a bit of a core pose. It's almost like a cat-cow, because when you're in Sphinx, you're trying to roll the shoulders back in a back bend, you're trying to lift the chest. And then what we're going to do is tuck the toes, push into the elbows like we just were, round the upper back and come up. So round in the upper back, shoulders away from the ears, and then drop it down into Sphinx pose. So inhale, lift the chest, exhale, push into the elbows, tummy's in tight, round the upper back, round the shoulders. And inhale, Sphinx. Of course, keep your knees down if you need to. And then round the upper back, push into the elbows. I can't emphasise that enough. I'm going to say it a million times today because it's so important. And then Sphinx pose. And then push into cat-cow. So come onto your hands and knees. And let's see how that feels today. So knees under the hips, hands under the shoulders, unless you need to walk them forward if your shoulders are feeling a bit sore. Drop in the belly, let's lift the chest, lift the bum, shoulders away from the ears. So whatever move we do in yoga, this is going to come in. Don't let yourself sink down so your ear can graze the shoulder. We need to be lifted up again by pushing into the heel of the hand. Rounding the back. And lifting the bum, lifting the chest. And working with that. And maybe you can tuck your toes and lift into your first downward dog. Stay really high, almost just on your big toes as you lift right up. Shoulders over wrists, round in the upper back, pull the tummy tight, and then let everything go to the back of the room, the thighs, the bottom, shoulders, and start padding out your down dog. Notice how that feels today. The first one is always horrific, I think. And then just dropping your knees for a moment. Just going to show you where we're going to go. We're going to do this a few times today. We're just going to let our lovely third eye, our forehead, come in contact with the ground when we're in a downward dog, and then when we are in plank, if we can. So in a minute, you're going to come back into your downward dog. You can drop one elbow at a time, or both. Keep the elbows rolling towards each other and dropping down to the mat. And then from here, bring the weight forward, touch down with the forehead, push back, and lift up into your downward dog. That can all be done on the floor, with your knees on the floor. Drop the elbows, bring the weight forward, touch the floor with the forehead, push the weight back, and lift the elbows off. So you can do it downward dog or knees down. One more go. Drop the forearms, weight comes forward, forehead down, push it back, and lifting up. It's not easy, it's a bit like a turbo dog. And walk your feet forward. Let's take that lovely dangle. Again, imagine the weight is coming from that point on the head that you just measured. When that heel of the hand is on the brow, feel where that index finger is, and then imagine the weight is pulling the crown into the floor as well as the elbows. If you want to create that extra space at the back of the neck, you can interlace the fingers and just let the elbows be heavy. Just be careful, take it gently, never let the weight drop down, easing into every posture. And then bringing yourselves up, pushing into the feet, rise up. And hands to the heart. Let's do a little flowing. Rising up. And forward fold. Inhale, lift the chest, lift the bum, weights forward. And bring the hands down into plank. So for our chaturanga here, you can drop the knees if you wish. As you lower down, try and keep the bum lifted and just tap the head to the floor. And then as you lift the head, you drop the bum, roll the shoulders back, and then push back into your downward dog. Now if you wish, you can drop your knees. You don't have to do the next step. You can do it with your knees down. You can do it from downward dog or not do it at all. Dropping the elbows. Weight comes forward, touching the floor with your third up. Pushing back and then lifting the elbows. One more breath. Bend the knees, gazes forward, and you can walk or hop or jump to the top of your mat and let your head go. Let's take that back bend, lift the chest, lift the bum, and forward fold, melt the belly, the chest and the head. As the pelvis comes forward, the shoulders lift, rising up, and hands to the heart, rising up, and forward fold, and lift the chest. And take in your plank. And let's lower down, keep the bum high and touch the floor with the forehead. And if you can, lift the upper body, drop the bum, and then take your downward dog. Drop your knees if you need, or hold your downward dog as you drop the forearms. Bring the weight forward, kiss the floor with your forehead, take it back and lift into your downward dog. And then we're going to lift the right leg. We're going to open the right hip, lift the knee right up into the air. And if you wish, you can drop the left elbow. It makes it a little bit easier on the shoulders. Maybe open through the right armpit, gazing up, taking a twist. And then bringing it back round, lifting back up into your downward dog. Stepping the right foot forward now, dropping the left knee. We're going to rise up into our lunge. You can place a cushion under your left knee if you need. And then just lift the arms, or you can have them in at the chest. Make sure you're not squeezing the front toes. You're on the ball on the back of the foot. You're pushing through that back shin. Maybe you can clasp the hands behind your neck. Create space. Don't let the neck collapse. As you push the bum under and lift the chest. Keep that bum really strong and tucked under to support your back. And then bring it back to centre. While I have a look where we're going. Okay, so bring the hands down. I only did this afternoon, so you can tell I'm definitely not a polished yoga teacher, but you definitely do have a fresh routine every class. Peel the right toes off of the floor and straighten that right leg if it's comfortable. Maybe lift the chest, just getting a nice hamstring stretch. And maybe now folding from the groin, from the top of the leg, your belly, your chest and your head. Bend the knee in if you need to make contact with that third eye. And just feel the connection with the thigh and the head. And then bringing that leg forward again. Lifting yourself up, bringing your hands into prayer. We're going to take a prayer twist here. So I'll just come to face you. So to take the prayer twist, you can either just twist towards your leg, keep the hands centre of the chest and the chin in line with the hands. So that's like your unlevered version. Or if you want to give it a little bit of lever, you take that left elbow, place it on the outside of that right knee, and your hands will have jutted away from the chest. Then you try and bring your chest to your hands and your hands to your chest in this prayer twist. Watch what the front toes are doing again. Don't overuse your neck. Keep the back arm down if you can. And maybe you can tuck the toes and lift the back knee off. You're trying to keep as much space in that upper body as you can. You're not sinking everything down. You're lifting the chest and dropping the shoulders. Bringing it back round. Taking your hands down either side of that front foot and stepping back into your plank. Chaturanga, lift the bum, dive the head down and then drop the bum, lift the chest and tuck the toes, downward dog. Big breaths. Bend the knees, sit the bum back, gazes forward, and step, hop or jump to the top of the mat and let your head go. Lift the chest, lift the bum, and forward fold. Push into the feet, tummies in, and hands to the heart. Let's try that on the other side. Lifting up, and forward fold. Chest lifts, and hands down, plank. Again, you can drop your knees if you need, otherwise lift the bum a little and kiss the ground with the forehead, then drop the bum and lift the chest. And push back into your downward dog. Holding here, or you can drop the elbows, bring the weight forward, touch the floor, it's getting hard now, and then lifting up into your downward dog, or you can come into your knees, and then we are going to lift the left leg, lifting that left knee all the way over, opening the hip. You can always drop your right knee if you need. And then if you want, you can drop your right elbow. Really opening through that left armpit, gazing up. Bringing it back round, and then stepping that foot to the left hand, dropping the right knee. Of course, you can drop the right knee first and then step it forward. Taking your crescent lunge. Using support under your knee if you need. Taking as big a lunge as you wish. Tuck the bum under, relax the shoulders. Maybe clasping the fingers behind the neck. Really get underneath that skull bone. And then tuck the bum under even more and lift the chest. Elbows nice and high. You've got that head. The head is heavy, but you've got it. It's not holding itself. Fully supported. And then bringing it down. Taking the hands down either side of that left foot. Let's roll the toes back. Forward fold over the knee. We didn't lift the chest first, did we? You can stay in your forward fold if you're there already, but if you want to activate first for a deeper stretch, then just roll the shoulders back if you can, lift the chest, take as big a bend in that front knee as you can, and then forward fold. Just so the forehead touches the knee, which may mean you're up here with a big bent knee, that's fine. Just going inward for a few breaths. And bringing it forward, getting ready for that prayer twist. So lifting the chest away from the thigh, hands in at the chest. Keep the hands locked at the centre of the chest as you twist to the left. And that can be where you stay. Keep everything in alignment if this is where you are. Or you can hook your right elbow on the outside of the left knee. Keep the back elbow down, shoulders away from the ears, and then twist the hands to the chest and the chest to the hands. If that feels okay, you can tuck your back toes and lift your back knee off. Keep it super strong through that back leg. And watch your front toes aren't going wide. And breathe. And then bringing it back round. And we are coming back into that plank. Let's take that chaturanga. Kiss the floor. Drop the hips, rise up. And take the downward dog. 3 breaths to finish this round. If this isn't strong enough for you, please feel free to take your forehead to the floor here. And then bending your knees, gazes forward. Step, hop, jump to the top of the mat, let your head go. Chest lifts, weight comes forward. You see a lot of people doing this, even on really experienced yoga teachers, and the bum comes back. And I do have to remind myself sometimes, I'm looking at my reflection, not at you, if you know what I mean. So instead, try and bring the weight forward. So you're just teetering, the heels are almost coming up rather than being here. Lift the chest, lift the bum, and then forward fold. And then rise up. And then take it down. Okay, how are we doing? Okay, I hope. Let's see where we're going from here. Okay, so we are going to take a chair pose. We're going to sit the bum down and lift the arms. So the weight's coming back, it's not coming forward, weight in the heels, keep the hands in at the chest if your shoulders are sore. And then from here, start to drop your arms and come onto your tiptoes. And then drop in the body, take the hands behind you, you're high up on your tiptoes. Your tummy's in tight, it's like you're in a diver's pose. See if you can stay on your tiptoes now as you come back into your chair, swinging the arms forward and peeling the chest away from the thighs. Ouch. And then forward fold. Lift the chest, lift the bum. Hands down, step or jump back into your plank. Take any chaturanga that feels good for you. And dropping the bum, lifting the shoulders. Tucking the toes, coming back into your downward dog. Drop the knees if you need. As you drop your forearms, bring the weight forward. Tap the floor, bang as I just did. Push back and then lift the elbows up. Lift the right leg into the air. Step it through. Right foot to the right hand. Back heel down. Rise up. Warrior one. And let's just feel our warrior one. Again. The weight isn't in the front toes, it's in the whole foot. And you're rolling into the back edge of that back foot. Tucking the bum under so you support your back. Try not to overarch the back. Shoulders are nice and relaxed. Heart space is open. You can gently lift your chin just a little. Inhale. Exhale, warrior two. So just change the arm positioning. Watch that you've not leant forward, that your body is still straight up. You can always bring the hands in at the chest if the shoulders are sore. I'm going to move between a warrior two here and an equestrian like a lunge. So it'll look like this. Inhale, spin on the back toes, lift the arms. Exhale, bend through the knees. Inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, warrior two lunge. When you're ready, toes, inhale. Exhale, lunge. Inhale, lift. Exhale, warrior two. Just mind those back toes aren't going to start pointing behind you. Keep them facing in. Just carry on at your own pace. Last one. Turn the front toes now to meet with the other, to face the other toes. Heels out. That's wrong. Heels in, toes out. I think I'm doing a forward fold, but we're doing a goddess. And then start to bring the elbows onto the thighs. Maybe that's where you want to be. Maybe you can start to push into your heels and tuck your bum under. And automatically when you tuck your bum under, your chest lifts. You can see by the rocking movement I'm doing. You tuck the bum under, bring it forward, and it allows you to lift the chest a bit more upright. Or maybe you can tuck it a little more, keep the knees going towards your little toes, and lifting the arms. Shoulders relaxed. 3 more breaths. Bring the hands down. Turn to face the front of your mat, lifting your left knee into your chest. We're going to take a tree pose. So you can either place your foot on the floor with the heel in at the ankle, you can bring it to your calf, or you can bring it into your groin. Trying to have the heel as far into the groin as your knees and legs will allow, and the toes pointing down, which is never going to happen for me, I'm not built that way, but wherever you can. And then tuck the bum under, roll the knee out, just be careful with your knees. And then maybe tummies are in tight, rooting through your foot, but this is a crown pose. Maybe you can bring the hands into your crown. Keep the tummies in tight. You could try closing your eyes. Good luck with that. You can open the branches if you wish, but feel the energy up high around the head. It's lifting you up, this pose. You're rooting down through your foot to lift the energy up. And bringing your hands back down. Releasing that off. And then we're going to try that on the other side. In fact, let's flow from here. Let's inhale, start the vinyasa again. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, take your plank. Take any chaturanga that feels good. Lift the bum, maybe drop the head, and then drop the pelvis down. Lift the chest, taking that downward dog. Lifting your left leg. Oh, we forgot to do our bent elbows. You thought you got away with it then, didn't you? If you want to do it, bring the elbows to the floor. Bringing the weight forward, touching the floor. Bringing the weight back again and lifting up. Now you can lift your left leg. And stepping it through to the left foot. Right heel down, rise up, warrior one. See how that feels. Again, notice what your body's telling you. Try to wiggle the toes, try to tuck the bum under, try to lift the chest, keep it really strong. You can sink deeply into that front knee as you wish. Inhale. Exhale, warrior two. See how this feels. Strong warrior. And we're going to move through our little lunge sequence by inhaling, coming onto the toes of the back foot, and exhale, dropping the back knee. Inhale, and warrior two. In your own time, you might need to shorten your stance. And hold. Watch those back toes haven't jutted behind you. Turning the front toes in, and then you can bring the heels in, toes out. Taking our goddess on this side. Namaste here. It's always, sometimes it's good to see it from the back. Okay, so bringing the elbows onto the thighs. And you can stay here if you wish. Otherwise, you try and roll the weight on the outer edge of the foot and into the heel, and roll the bum forward. Keep the knees going towards the little toes. Maybe lift the chest, arms forward, or if you wish, arms lifted. 10, 9, 8. Big breaths. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And spin into the front of your mat, lifting your right knee into your chest and coming into whichever tree feels good for you. You can have your toes on the floor or on a block, and you're supposed to have your hips facing forward and your knee would jump right out to the side, but it will depend on the shape of your hips more than anything. Tummy's in, chest is lifted, ground yourself through that left foot strongly. You can bring your hands to the third eye. And maybe you can open your branches, letting all of that energy lift up. Opening the chest, to keep those tummies in, it will help with your balance. Got a nice open heart, so you can enjoy big breaths. bringing it down. Let's see if we can step straight back with that right foot and then back with the left. And then taking that chaturanga. And taking any back bend that feels good. And tucking the toes. Taking a downward dog. I'm just going to check the time. Okay, we've probably got enough for one more little round of flow. And then we'll come into our peak pose. So from here, bending the knees, gazes forward. Bring yourselves to the top of the mat, let your head go. Halfway lift, bring the weight forward, not back. And forward fold. Push into the heels, rise up. And hands to the heart. Okay, we're not actually going to flow now, we're just going to do it from standing. I think. Have cushions at the front of your mat if you normally, or blocks if you normally need them for a half moon or a warrior 3 or any of that kind of balancing work that we do, or have yourself near a wall. Okay, so we're just going to start by coming into our chair pose again. So sitting thumb back, knees and ankles together or equidistant, don't let your knees knock in. Sitting back into that chair, as low as you want to go. You can always measure by bringing the hands to the floor, toes are slightly off, and then without moving the bum or the knees, if that's possible, moved a bit, you can just draw the chest away from your thighs and lift the arms. But tummies are pulled in super tight. I'm just going to step back for the next few. 5, 4, 3, 2, and forward fold. It's always lovely after chair. From here, grounding through your right foot, taking that left foot behind you. It's not standing splits, we're just taking it into the T shape. So your back toes are down. The heel is pushing that back wall away from you. You can leave your hands on the floor, or you can start to balance, bring your hands into the chest, or you can take them forward. And then as you bring your right hand in front of your right foot slightly, maybe on a cushion, lift now that left leg up into half moon, so you can turn the toes now and lift the hip, and maybe that left arm will lift up. Maybe you want to bend your foot in, take hold of your foot for the last breath or two, open the chest, and then stepping that right foot back, straightening the legs if that's comfortable, coming into reverse triangle. So this time your left hand is grounded on a block, on a cushion, or on the floor, and you can start to see how it feels to bring the right hand onto the waist, or you can bring it up into the air. Try and bring the weight into the back foot as much as the front. Your gaze can be down to the side or up. Listen to your neck. For the extra twist, bring your left hand across your right foot. Keep the thighs strong. Keep the inner thighs coming together. Oops, and release it down. Step back into your downward dog. And you're going to bend your knees and you're going to jump or step your feet to the outside of your hands. Have lots of cushions in front of your head. I'm going to get a block or a block. So you jumped outside of your hands. So your upper arms and your knees are nice and in contact with each other. And all you're going to do is bring the weight into the hands and rock onto your toes, and then come back. Rock the weight forward and rock it back. Maybe as you rock the weight forward, you could start to lift one foot off the floor and rock it back. Maybe two. The other one, I should say. If you've got cushions in front of you, you could try popping your head down and lifting both feet off. Whatever feels good for you. To see if you're well practiced with your crow, just have a little play of just letting the hands balance you. And then standing yourselves up, taking a forward fold. Let the breath catch itself. And then let's sit that bum down and come straight back into that chair pose. It's going to feel tough this one now after that leg work. Tucking the bum under slightly, belly's in, pelvic floor pulled up. And forward fold. Okie dokie, keeping that left foot down this time. Taking that right foot behind you, so you're not lifting it up, it's in line with the bottom, toes pointing down, and you're making the leg as long as you can. And then try and start to peel the hands off the floor and bring them into your chest, or you can take them forward into that warrior three, wherever you want to be here. Tummy's in. Try and put the pressure in the whole of that left foot. It's good I've got a wall there. I've always got one wobbly side. And taking that left hand down, now you can turn the right toes and lift the hip. Maybe lift the right hand, or you can keep it, for goodness sake, in your thigh. And take your half moon. Big breaths. Use as many props under that left hand as you need. Try not to lock your left knee. Maybe you can bend that knee in and take hold of the right foot. And then stepping back with that right foot. Straighten the legs if that feels okay. As many props under your hands as you need, and the legs as bent as you need here. I know it's tough. We're taking reverse triangle. So the left foot's forward, the right hand is down, and it's the left arm that lifts onto the waist or comes up into the air. Gaze again with any pose is where feels good for you. And for the extra twist, you can bring that right hand to the outside of that left foot if you've got better balance than me today. Ooh. And then bringing it down, step back, downward dog. Just checking the time. Bend the knees, jumping through into that frog pose or yogi squat. We'll just take a squat here for a minute. As you sit the bum back, take the elbows on the inside of the knees, and the hands are joined, and that keeps the knees from falling in, or you can sit on the floor. And then just taking a forward fold. We'll do any wriggles that feel good. And then coming to a wall or a door if you have one. Don't worry if you don't. If you have somebody else in the house, you can always ask for a little bit of spotting by them if you don't have the wall. And we'll just see how we go with a few little headstand goes. We're going to warm up to it very gently. So please don't be scared.
I want to start by saying that the two types of headstands that you see in yoga. The headstand that I'm going to show you, where you have the hands on the floor and you support the head, like what we did at the beginning. And then there's a tripod headstand. Please don't do a tripod headstand unless you're used to doing it. If you see it online and you maybe have practiced a headstand here and then you think that you're going to try tripod, I would never teach a tripod because of the compression in the neck. And tripod headstand is where the hands are down and you bring the knees on the back of the elbows, and then you go up from here. So the only support is a little bit in the hands and all of the weight is in the head, and I've really damaged my neck from when I first started yoga from doing that. So the headstand I'm going to teach you, I think, is safer because you have the full support of your forearms, and as you know from Monday we were able to lift up, or at least try, into that forearm stand. So just go easy. Any headstand obviously is going to be a slight risk in the neck, so you must listen to your neck at every single stage today and take it very, very easy. If you've got your strap, it can be handy for popping around like we have been doing for the last couple of weeks, just above the elbows, because it's normal when you do this type of thing that the elbows want to really come out, but we need them to stay underneath the shoulders and really support us. So use a strap if you have one. Okay, so the first thing we are going to try is just imagine you're in a downward dog. You can do a downward dog with your feet against the wall, wherever that might be, and from there just bring your knees down. That's just your measure. So feet in a downward dog, just where you'd be comfortable. Drop your knees and then drop your elbows. Then joining your fingers together, and remember, if you need to remeasure, you can remeasure, but heel your hand against your brows and then feel where your index finger comes on top of your head. That is what's going on the floor. So you're placing that on the floor. Let's take the hair out for this. Gets in the way. But as soon as you come to the floor, push into your elbows like we did at the start. So you're activating your core and you're bringing your ears away from your shoulders. But my head is on the floor. And then you can lift up into your downward dog, as long as the weight is going into the elbows and not into the head. The head is in contact with the floor, in contact with your hands, but the weight is in the elbows. I can't stress that enough. This is like an elbow stand with the head on the floor. It should never have been called a headstand because the weight should not be going in your heads. If that's too much for anybody and you don't like the feeling of your head in the floor, just do it with the head off the floor. It's absolutely fine. You don't have to drop your head down. So just have a minute out of that. Notice how you feel. You can take a little bit of stretch at the back of the neck. If there were any issues in your cervical spine at the back of the neck, then don't do it. Keep your head off the floor for any further movements that we do, and then your neck will be fine as long as your head's not on the floor. If you're okay, excuse me, then we can try maybe coming back into that pose, like in a downward dog with the forearms down, but we'll lift one leg up into the air. So finding that downward dog position that's good for you. Dropping your knees. Don't move the hands, just drop the elbows. Join the hands together. If you want to, you keep your head off the floor. It's up to you. If you are keeping the head down, remember, it's the very top of the head that comes to the floor. Push into the elbows before you even think about lifting. Activate the core, round the upper back, and then you can lift. If you wish, you can lift one leg up into the air. Please keep pushing into those elbows. And breathe. Swapping over or having a break. If you're not used to this, don't stay in it too long. Because if you don't want to lose strength in the arms and risk the pressure going into the neck. As you can hear, I'm a little bit safety conscious about the neck because I do suffer with my neck. not from doing a headstand though. Okay, please stick to those if that's where you want to be today, with your head on or with your head off the floor. We've got 2 or 3 minutes to try a headstand now, facing the wall, just to give you that support that you're not going to fall anywhere. If you don't have a wall but you've got somebody in the room, just have them standing in front of you if you're not used to doing it, just so you don't flip over. Be careful, don't kick them in the face, because that's happened before. Okay, so it's the same principle. So you're going to be a little way away from the wall, so you're not right up against the wall. Firmly joining your hands together, and the hands are securely down into the floor. And then from here, before you go anywhere, get that lovely snug fit between your head, the back of the head and the hands, and the crown of the head and the floor, and start to push through your elbows. Only when you've got that full connection, fingertips, little fingers on the floor, head on the floor, elbows on the floor, and core engaged, then you can start to lift up. Come onto your tiptoes, walk your feet in, and maybe you can start kicking up or floating up into your headstand. If you're used to doing it and your feet can't come away from the wall, instead of pointing your feet up, flex the toes down, and then maybe, I can't do it and talk, maybe your feet will come away from the wall. Elbows and, shoulders and ears away from each other. Keep the weight going into those forearms. And if you've had a go and you do come out, just interlock those fingers and have the back of the neck stretch. And let me know how you get on. If you have any issues, we can Skype, we can FaceTime, we can do one-to-one. There's no issue whatsoever. I'll help anybody who needs it with any technical stuff, because it's a brave thing to try a headstand if you're not used to it, especially if you've had neck issues in the past or anything like that, especially when you're at home and I can't see you. So that's why I've tried to do it really slowly. But please let me know how you get on and if you need any more info. I can't believe we've absolutely run out of time again today. But just before we finish, let's just sit down. And instead of finishing with Shavasana today, relaxation pose, we'll finish with Nadi Shodhana, alternate nostril breathing. Because it's still very meditative when you close your eyes down and you do it, and it's beautiful balancing that lovely left Ida and the right Pingali side. Okay, so getting your dominant hand, folding your three middle fingers in so that your thumb and your little finger is sticking out. Placing whichever hand isn't dominant just gently on the knee, and start to lift through the chest and relax those shoulders. And then with this breath, it's an exhale and an inhale on one side, and then an exhale and an inhale on the other as we cup the nostrils. So shutting the eyes down, you're not squeezing the nostrils, you're gently cupping the edge of the nostril. So cupping the right and inhale left. Cup the left, exhale right. Inhale right. Cup the right, exhale left. Inhale. Swap. Exhale. Inhale. Swap and exhale. Carrying on in your own time. Exhale, inhale, swap. Exhale, inhale, swap. Slowly and consciously as you can, gazing with the eyes closed but at your third eye just between the brow. you exhale on the right, just bringing the hands down and just breathing. Noticing how you feel. Bringing your hands into prayer pose, Anjali Mudra. And bringing your thumb to your third eye. Thank you so much for your continued support with these little classes. It's so appreciated. Namaste. I hope you're all okay after that. Like I say, not even any questions, I'd love to know how you got on. Please let me know. And I will see you next week. I hope you all have a lovely VE day on Friday and a fab weekend.